Hey, you're
How you
right.
doing, man? You all right?
Yeah, good, sir.
I'm loving the Transformers, mate. I love it. No, I'm.
Many years collecting.
I wasn't even joking about the asking your advice for hanging the posters.
Yeah, well, I've just read up a lot of things, like, because I'm not using. I didn't want to use screwdrivers. Screws, like to drill in, because I never have a good job with like new build houses, like the plaster walls. I just don't know what's safe and not. So I've
Oh
used those.
yeah.
I've used those command strips instead. And
What's that?
they're like
It's like Velcro.
stickers effectively that you put on the back of frames, and then you just stick it straight to the wall,
Oh,
and
that's
then
amazing.
it doesn't cause damage. So there's one side that sticks to the frame, one side sticks to the wall, and is Velcro to each other, and they hold like
Is
1.8 kilos each.
is there any give on that fixture, like tiny amounts or anything like that?
What do you mean?
You know, like when you put, if it was just regular Velcro, you got Velcro, but there's like tiny little weight. You know, the weight shifts it a little bit, so it just sits perfectly there, rock solid.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the way they design, I mean, you can get those command strips anywhere. You'll have seen them, like when you go through Asda or something like that. You just don't think about it unless you need to buy them. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
But the benefit of these, like once you're done with it, let's say I didn't want these posters up anymore, and I take it down, it shouldn't damage the wall. You take off the bit off the Velcro, and then the bit that sticks to it, you just pull a tab at the bottom, and then
Yeah.
it's supposed to not cause any damage to your wall.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, because I've been where I am now. I've got, like we've all got legacy collections of posters and all that. So
Yeah,
I'm trying to find the best click frames. Are they click frames so you can take
yeah,
it
they are.
easy?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to, because I collected quad posters for almost 20 years now, because I've worked at two different cinemas, one with you, and the one in Chester. It was a UGC. Then it
Oh
was a
yeah.
Cineworld. So it was, that was
Wow.
a crazy time. So I've got like original ones I found there, like the original quad poster of Goldeneye and a few others, Eyes Wide Shut. You know, like
Wow.
little bits I like Bond and all sorts. So it's, you know exactly what it's like when you've got hundreds of posters like in rolls. You think to yourself, what do I do with these? Because I don't want to sell them.
I know.
Because I've got like a full set of Kill Bill from when that was first out, and I've got the shiny one and all this other nonsense. So,
Oh,
like the shiny Panini stickers, like that.
oh yeah.
So it feels like that. So yeah, I'm going to get click frames, and then it's like, which color do I get and all that. So, and I've just got the quad posters. I don't have any one sheets. So it's
Yeah,
all there
well,
too.
yeah. I mean, I'll send you the link to the one I get them from, like, because
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
they're reasonably priced. Like these ones, I think they work out about £28 or so.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds quite expensive, but in reality, when I'm looking for one sheets like frames, I can't find any cheaper than 50 quid, and most of them are generally from America.
Right. That makes a lot of
you,
sense. Yeah.
you do find some cheaper in America. You tend to find that you're paying more for the shipping charge anyway, and so it's not worthwhile. So,
Oh, okay. Are
yeah.
are posters still being sent over to cinemas as frequently as they were? Because obviously there's a lot of light boxes now, isn't there? And TV screens
Nothing
and
will
that
be
kind of
sent to
thing.
the cinema now because obviously I still work at Printworks management of myself, and
Yeah.
we've stopped every delivery. They don't have staff to collect
Oh
them.
no, what I mean is with the change of
Oh,
technology.
going digital. Yeah. It depends on the cinema because quite a lot of them have become digital now, so they won't necessarily get posters. But the Printworks one, they're still quite old school and they're not spending any money on going digital, so they will
Yeah.
still get the classic like actual posters and that.
Because
So
each fixture's pretty costly, isn't it, to change something out, like especially
yeah,
to a screen that changes like super modern bus stops. And to be honest, I don't want it to stop because I don't want to stop collecting. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
so yeah. One of the reasons I ask is we've got a combination of three artists that are working on posters for the festival, and the
Okay.
reason that's relevant is we're not just going to dump everyone's films online and like, oh, that's it, that's the end of the festival. Thanks for your contribution. We're getting them printed, we're getting them designed, and we're sending them out to everyone that submitted their film. So like every film, and you think to yourself, oh, what's going to be included? Well, it's going to be like a Where's Wally poster we're having a designer do with elements from every single film. And then
Wow.
there's going to be an individual poster sent to you. It's going to be like one-off, so you'll have the only one, a print done of just your film, so a poster designed just of your film. So it's there's 2 designers based in Cornwall who got involved with the festival and submitted something, and they've been super generous with their time, and it's just like a little thank you to you, and because I know you kind of you're super creative, and I kind of wanted to kind of tap into that comedy as well. Do you know what I mean? So Wing's got to submit this. I've got to get his film, and so we're doing that.
No, I appreciate that you even were asking for it. To be honest,
it's a fun thing.
Today.
Oh, mate, the effort you went into, I understand it. That's the reason you made that comment about why I chose that section for that little teaser.
Yeah.
Because I know technically how difficult that is. And it's seamless. That's the biggest compliment I can give you for your film. That moment on the phone, it's hilarious. It's seamless, man. And that takes a lot of work and a lot of time. So we appreciate it. Chris and I that started the festival, we totally dig that. And so what was your film called? It's 14 Days Lockdown, is that right?
Yeah. Well, I didn't have a title for it for a long time because I didn't know what to call it. So I didn't want to call it coronavirus or anything else like that. So it didn't really have a title, but I thought people need to kind of like realize it's still similar to the Craig David one, but it's not 7 days. And because initially Boris Johnson said, you need to stay at home for 2 weeks, and I thought 14 days, it works out quite well. The fact that in Craig David's song, he sings the Monday to Sunday bit twice in the chorus, that counts to 14 days. So I just kind of used the math to that. I was like, all right, well, I'll just call it 14 days, and then just
I think you pulled it apart enough and made it as original as you can. And it was just a lot of fun, and it was very you, because I've known you kind of on and off for a while, and then I knew you for a 2-year period or so, and it was so you, and especially seeing you on TV recently as well. It was I loved it. I have to ask you about that as well. But it was it's a lot of fun, man. And I've said this to pretty much everyone. We've recorded 12 episodes now. We've got like another 10 or so. So we're trying to get every single person to do this. And we've had people from Australia. We just had a submission from Israel as well.
Wow.
So and we've had our first Bollywood. It's a chap that's based in Canada, but he's made a Bollywood short film, and I'm so happy we got it.
Incredible.
Because my missus is family are from India originally, and it's super Bollywood. And when you see that, I'll send you a link to it, like a private link, and you'll dig the musicality of it as well.
Oh, definitely,
because you know the amount of screenings we've had at the I'll say at the Odeon of Bollywood films on Sundays.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know the tone. So it's quite a thing we've got going on at the moment. We've had, I think it's 35 submissions in 6 weeks, and for something that's out of nothing, it's we were going to be happy with 20. We're like, right, let's crack 20. Let's do that. And we've had my original point before I went on massive tangent was every film has shown a part of the person that's created it. You see a real creativity, and yours is, because I know you, I know it's so you know what I mean? Not someone else hasn't written it or kind of directed it. So, and there's a lot of charm in it, man. And so your original video, I think was it posted up on Facebook, wasn't it?
Yeah, I posted. Well, it's through Instagram TV, really.
Yeah.
Because I only discovered, I thought you had to subscribe to Instagram TV, but someone said no, you could just post stuff on it. So I always used to cut previous videos to 1 minute long, or
like super short,
Yeah, or I would do a video and split it into 2 or 3 in my post, and then it loses slight momentum from that, because people have to. I know it's as simple as pressing another click, but it loses that momentum enough that, I don't know, people maybe not watch it. And then when someone told me about this, right, I'll post it on Instagram, which then connects to Facebook.
Yeah, I work for as a photographer, or not at the moment. I work as support for the university in Chester, and I'm part of the social media subgroup for the department I work for. So we're looking at Instagram and how to grow the social media and all of that. And
Yeah.
Instagram TV, it's kind of a mixed bag because you're absolutely the point you made about an extra click. People don't want to do that, even though it's on their phone. People just don't want to do that. So it's tricky, really, because with updates and stuff we've been posting, I thought, what deserves a full 15-minute video, or what's kind of what will catch attention? It's really tricky. And then you've got to think about the IGTV covers, you know, the kind of taller images and all of that.
Yeah.
And then what's the first thing on your screen? It's you know, it's a bit crazy. And the way you tag people and that in videos, I'm not a big fan of. So it's just, you know, it's a bit of a mess, really, doing it, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's why they, like, even going back to the film industry, like the stuff that they put on social media now. I don't know whether they do it on YouTube itself, but they have a sneak preview of the trailer before the trailer starts. It's
a 7-second trailer, yeah.
Yeah, because it needs to get people's engagement through the first. It is normally like, I think, the first 10 seconds. If they're not engaged by that point, they're not going to watch the rest, so they have to watch that. But me, as an old school person, I find it annoying. I don't want to see a 10-second clip before I watch the rest of the trailer.
Yeah, I'll tell you a story, right? In 2000, right? Do you remember the first week's films when you started at the cinema? Do you remember what was out when you started?
Bedazzled, I think Pitch Black, and Grinch, Charlie's Angels.
Do you remember Pitch Black was like, well, the advert was out a year before the film? Do you remember that? Did you start about 99, 98, something like that?
Filmworks opened in 2000.
Yeah, the only reason I know it is because it's kind of parallel with exactly when I started my first cinema kind of jaunt. And I remember American Pie. I think it was Runaway Bride. It was an interesting few weeks. But
wow.
This is the story I meant to tell you. There's that a couple, you know, you get your regulars, don't you? You recognize because they're just there all the time, every week, or whatever. We used to have a couple in. They were really nice. Always talk to you and talk about films and trailers and all that. But when I go and sit, you know, we used to seat people in their seats with a torch and everything. And he'd always have his head in his hands. I'm like, what's going on? Why do they argue every time they come to the cinema? But he never wanted to watch the trailers ever.
Yeah.
Has there been a shift in trailers in cinemas? Because I haven't been in a while. Obviously, no one's been in the cinema in a while. But has that 7-second trend started in the cinemas yet? You know, before the big trailer.
I've not noticed that. Yeah.
Because that'll be the next step, yeah.
Because I think in that sense, it's slightly different with social media. It's the engagement, whereas in a cinema, or maybe like a well, you wouldn't do it on a billboard because there's no sound generally, but it's the cost to have that extra 7 seconds.
Oh, I see, yeah.
To make the trailer slightly longer could potentially cost them more to make that and then send it out to cinemas.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, so it wouldn't necessarily be in there because they emphasize more on the loudness. Like the trailer sound is louder than the actual film. So
yeah, that's a fair point. I'm gonna look at the screen because I want other people to know this as well. I did apologize, but I owe you an apology from years ago when Avatar came out. And I had this massive rant on Facebook you may have seen, because I think it was the air conditioning had frozen over or something when Avatar came out. I had this massive, because I didn't realize you were still there because I'd left, and it was when was Avatar? Was it 2010, 2009, something like that?
I can't remember, to be fair.
I had this massive meltdown because I was so, you know, I'm like a child when it comes to like Jurassic Park or whatever. And
it's important. It's like inspiring as well.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's my jam. It's the closest thing I've got to a church. You know what I mean? And I had this massive meltdown on Facebook, and I don't, you know, emotional stuff I don't put online based on things like this. But I had this massive rant about the Odeon, like, oh, why effing and jeffing? And then you explained it, and it made complete sense. And then I felt like a fool. So again, I apologize Wayne, for my attitude online. It was really rude of me to do that. So, you know, because I think it was the opening day or something crazy, and it was something to do with the aircon, The top of the building was frozen, something like that.
Yeah.
It was a December release, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, because I remember there were times when it was snowing and people were snowed in and they couldn't get out, so they asked, could they exchange it to another time? It's like they're selling out shows, and you know we can't exchange everyone's and that because they're all sold out or whatever. So
what's the kind of, you don't have to necessarily, I'm just curious, and I think other people will, because you're kind of a unique position in terms of working in management in cinema. Because there's 20 screens, right, in Filmworks?
Yeah, there is, yeah.
What's the trend for like a AAA film? How many screens does that kind of take over now in a cinema like yours?
Well, these days, I mean, it's not necessarily how many screens it takes, it's how long they can have it in between. So normally, something like Avengers, you know, the Marvel films, they could be every 15 minutes or every half an hour, really. So you base it on how long a film is. So if it's 2.5 hours long plus half an hour out of the trailers plus a turnaround time, that's 3.5 hours. So it's how many slots of 15 minutes, half an hour you can get in between each one.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Oh my God, I have mastered over years sweeping. You know what it's like. We've all done it. We've all midnight showings and also, oh my God. Like when I sweep here, it's like PTSD. It's because I've done it in 2 phases. You've done it way more than me. And when I see Paul Bannister sweeping still, or if he's still there, it's like, is he at the Filmworks?
Well, he's with the Odeon head office, so he works
okay.
at the other side of town. But he does he's like a finance manager, last I heard. So
that's interesting.
About a year, yeah.
And like a bin's been up too long when you get to that fine bin juice smell. Do you know what I mean? It's whenever I experience that outside of a cinema, which, you know, footfall and usage, it must be more intense than almost anywhere, because you know what I mean. And I really miss kind of working with you, and the team we had was pretty epic. And you must have seen different phases over the years. And you
go through it's like generation of staff. Because I see it like university, people start in their first or second year of uni. They do 2 or 3 years. And when they graduate, that's generally when they quit the cinema and go on. And so you get waves of people who stick around for a while. You'll always get hundreds who will probably stay maybe only a few weeks. And I'll admit, I don't remember everyone that works through there. It's literally thousands. But the people who stick a bit longer, you know, they make an impression on you. You do remember them. So obviously, you know, I do remember you as the film buff, and I remember other people for different aspects, you know, positive or negative, but I do remember them because they've stuck around for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Dickie McKee and all of that, you know, that generation.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
And I love following him and seeing him in, I think, is it Tokyo or Japan or something where he lives? Something like that now. Was it China?
I think he's in Korea.
Oh, okay.
Korea. Gareth Price, he's in Japan.
Yeah, he's just got his house build going on now.
Oh, no, yeah. It's enjoyable watching that, to be fair.
I know. I know. I said to him, is there any way you could squeeze a film out of your house build?
I know. Yeah. This is our life now. It's like oh, a house. Yeah.
I know. How have you dealt? How have you kind of switched into working at home now? Because I know you work at home. So how has that been? Was it difficult to begin with? Has it changed for you?
Not really. It's more to do with technology in itself. Getting access to our server at work is the issue. Like going on VPNs and the network, and it's a bit slower. Then it comes to logistics of some side of things, but because managing Printworks, you've got quite a lot of tenants in there. So if they're not working, then you know, I'm not doing as much on that side, but then it's kind of compensating because it takes slightly longer to do some work from home than it would do in an office. So
yeah, absolutely.
You know, there's a balance. I mean, quite used to it. It's, you know, we only had a small team anyway on our site, so it's not been too difficult. I think if I was still working at the actual cinema office, it'd be a bit different because everything's to deal with logistics of the films and the staff.
Yeah,
absolutely. If you're not there, then I'd imagine they'd probably be furloughed rather than actually just sitting at home doing nothing. So
yeah, absolutely. It was always quite an efficient, as I remember, in terms of management for the cinema. It was always super efficient. There was never like a crazy amount of managers like I've been at other places, you know, where it's like it kind of works itself out. And the cinema industry has been around for, you know, what is it, over 100 years now, at least.
Yeah.
So it's kind of super efficient. And I'll say it, right? Screen 18 is still my favorite screen because it's absolutely ridiculously massive for what your regular screen is, you know, compared to like an IMAX or something.
It's bigger than most IMAXs in the country.
I know. I used to spout that stuff off all the time because I was so proud of it. You know what I mean? I love it to bits. And
I was the same.
You still have, and everyone listening, the BFI in London's great when it works. And it's failed on me twice now. So the Manchester Odeon, still Odeon, isn't it?
It's View.
Oh, no, it's View. Sorry, View is the best IMAX in the country. Better than Bradford, better than BFI. The BFI, basically, the film snapped. It was it was Interstellar, and you can imagine the way I am, the way I reacted about Avatar with you on that, is that it was a scene with a young Jessica Chastain character, and he was leaving the house, and the first thing that happened was the audio went out of sync. I'm like, because isn't it on a, like, let me get this right. I've always wondered, it's on a gold disc and it's synced with the film projector back in the day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Is that how the sound worked on that? Yeah.
The 70mm, it's synced up, so
So the sound went out and I was like, what the fuck? But the thing is, though, the reason I remember it so well is because I met Vicky online that same week, and I was going down to London the same time. We're engaged now and all that. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to the cinema. I'm going to London for the cinema, basically, for the BFI. And it was like the holy grail of cinemas. You know, that's what I thought initially. And the film went out of sync. I went out. I said, can you just check that it goes out of sync? So it doesn't go out of sync. I said, it does. It does. And then my Deirdre Barlow veins on my neck popped up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was just like livid. And then the film snapped in front of everyone. I'm like, can you believe it? You know, it's the kind of premier screen in the country. I know you've got the Odeon, Leicester Square, but the BFI really is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
not uniquely, because it's Christopher Nolan. You know, it's like he wants to keep with 70mm films, and so there's just, you know, I kind of appreciate why you would want to go down to London to watch that, because it's 70mm. You can't watch it anywhere else, really. Well, apart from maybe a couple of other IMAXs.
Yeah.
So,
if Michael Bay said to you, next Transformers, it's digital laser projected IMAX, this is the best way to watch it, I'll go and watch that as well. You know what I mean? Not just yourself. I'd go and see that. But then in Nolden we trust, as the phrase goes. So I went down there to watch it. I was fucking devastated. But the funniest thing is, when you watch that digital print of Interstellar on the IMAX, it looked better, it's sharper, it's better.
Yeah.
I honestly believe that. And I'm a purist as far as I can go. I'll be, you know, support the Hateful Eight, that kind of thing. I'll try my best to support the director's vision, because that's what you want, isn't it? You know, you watch a director's cut of a Ridley Scott film because that's the proper version. So anyway, that's my cinema rant over. So what was your kind of just to kind of jump back to your film, what was your inspiration for 14 Days Lockdown?
I think just when it started, the lockdown, I saw a couple of videos online. I think there was some girl, she does quite a lot of different videos anyway. And she was in spandex and singing about a quarantine song, and then and it became quite viral, that one. And then there was someone else who did I Will Survive as well. I think she was also in spandex, just by chance. I wasn't going to do it. But I
bet you thought about it there, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah. But I've always thought, like, I'd like to have done a spoof of a song that a lot of people know. So I thought, like, I don't know how it came about. I think it was just in my head for some reason. Craig David's 7 Days.
Craig David's in a lot of people's heads for the right and wrong reasons. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's
But
I can totally appreciate that, and it was like it gave you. This is the way I see it for you. It gave you like a positive focus as well. That's what we found a lot with a lot of people's films, and yours is that it's given them a creative outlet. And someone else made this comment on the first podcast, that it's giving you like a different direction, a real distraction. You know, it's
yeah,
a lot of people have taken up habits, bad habits, and a lot of people have taken up, you know, being super creative. Could look at the ways people are applying themselves online. Like even like celebrities are doing cooking things on Instagram and all sorts. So
yeah,
it's quite
definitely, yeah.
a thing. And how long did it kind of take to put together? Because I can see the effort in that. I really can.
Surprisingly, I think it all in all, it took maybe about 3 weeks in terms of from when I first thought about it to finishing it. But the first week, I didn't really have much time. I just literally wrote the lyrics out. Like, I wrote the lyrics out in the space of about 3 hours. I just got into a momentum of it. It's like, yeah, it's about 2 or 3 hours to write the lyrics. But it was more in my head when I was writing the lyrics, I was trying to think of how I would film it as well.
Yeah.
I did originally think, oh, maybe I can cheat it and use a backing track I can find online, but then, you know, it'd be licensing to someone else's. I know it's still his song, but I thought, right, I'm going to learn to play piano, which is a bit of trickery there as well. But the song itself, it repeats itself over after about 16 beats anyway. So it's quite easy to just then use that and then replicate it on a computer. So I'm not playing the thing over and over and over again because it's the first song I've ever played on guitar.
Yeah. Well, is
yeah,
all that music performed by yourself?
Yeah, all the music's played
Oh,
by
mate, you
myself,
did
yeah.
it. I didn't even realize that. Now that's, you know, like when you don't realize the 3D and that's the decent 3D. That's how I see it. That's how it's sold to me anyway. Is that, yeah, I didn't realize that. The reason there's a thing where I work where it's Year of the Nurse on Tuesday for, I think it's 200 years of nursing in the UK, something like that.
Right.
And I'm putting together an ABBA Super Trooper video with nursing students that have volunteered for the NHS.
Oh,
They work at the
nice.
university, so it's a lot of work, and I've got next week off. But I'm like, I want to do that. I want to make that edit. And a colleague at work who's like a sound engineer, and he wrote the music for our intro and other music for our festival. He wrote a MIDI version of Super Trooper, and he's looked at all the legalities, and it sounds good, but it's, you know what I mean? It's not quite, it's so difficult to get that right. And
yeah, exactly.
So you kind of, it's almost like a cover, isn't it, that you produce? Is that right?
Yeah, basically. So because like you said, it's doing a MIDI. Like I'm more experienced with a piano, and I could probably put the guitar tone on it instead, like this electric piano, and then just play it a lot easier. The tune itself, but it just doesn't have the same feeling like as a guitar, which is why I thought I'd learn to play guitar instead.
Yeah.
I don't know if the tempo is exactly the same as the original or not, but you know, I was just trying to do what I thought it worked out really.
Yeah, the intents there, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, and then so he's played. I played a guitar in 3 different parts. So there's the actual tune. There's a melody, and then there's the bass as well. It's not a bass guitar, but like it's just the lower notes, should I say? And it, you know, when it's put together, it actually sounds quite good.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I've shown it to my missus and a couple of other people because we've not kind of shown any of the films publicly. Obviously, there's people that have put their films on other festivals. We're more than happy for that to happen.
Yeah.
But in terms of our little group of filmmakers, I've shown yours, and yeah, it's just a positive vibe, and that's the reason we started the festival, is to give people that positive vibe. And yeah, yours definitely does that. I'm going to show you one of the other films, because what I'm doing with every filmmaker now on the podcast is showing them a little private screen. This isn't kept in the podcast, but I want to show you what the other efforts are. Now, the variety is crazy, is absolutely crazy.
Oh, I can imagine. Well, that's what creativity is, isn't it? So
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
the minds of all these different people.
And that's the beautiful thing. You don't know what you're going to get. Like we've just had another submission this morning from Australia. So I think that's 3 now from there. And I'm like, how is this? We don't know how the SEO, the website works, or the you know what I mean? It's really tricky with all of this. So I'm going to show you the one from Israel. So it's subtitled. It's simple but really well made.
Yeah.
So this is shot in Tel Aviv. Where are we? Share screen. Screen 1. Share sound. Okay. Now, can you see just a black screen?
Yeah.
Now, let me know if you can hear the audio straight away.
Yep.
יאיר!
ממי, מה את עושה פה?
באתי לראות את הפרצוף היפה שלך!
אני לא מבין כלום, תורידי את המסכה!
איזה כיף לראות אותך יפה שלי!
גם אותך, אבל את יודעת, את לא יכולה לעלות, אני בבידוד.
העיקר לראות את החתיכות הזאת!
יכולת להתקשר אליי בזום.
זה לא אותו הדבר! וחוץ מזה, אני רציתי להגיד לך משהו חשוב!
נו, מה רצית להגיד?
כל הטירוף הזה, הבדידות, גרמו לי להבין שאני רוצה להיות לידך כל יום, עד אינסוף, כל החיים. איך התגעגעתי אליך, אתה החבר הכי טוב שלי.
גם את החברה הכי טובה שלי.
יאיר? Will you marry me?
וואו, לא דמיינתי את זה ככה, תכננתי להציע לך. אבל כן, פאק איט, בואי נתחתן.
אני אוהבת אותך.
גם אני אוהב אותך.
יש, אפשר להתחיל לתכנן את החתונה.
כן, אבל בסדר, ממי, לא ככה כשאת עומדת ברחוב. תחזרי הביתה ונדבר על כל הפרטים בזום, טוב?
תמרה?
לא, ממי, זה לא מה שאת חושבת, היא סתם פה, זה לא קשור.
זה בדיוק מה שאת חושבת, כמו שלימדת אותי, סיס, מה ששלך שלי.
לא, ממי, באמת לא, בבקשה. סליחה, סליחי לי, הייתי בטוח שזאת את. ממי.
Doesn't that feel like a really good episode, like the start of something you want to see?
Yeah, absolutely. So, see, that's impressive in itself. I mean, that goes at a slightly different level. I mean, I know it's in isolation, and I know it's just down at the bottom of the street, but I would never have the confidence to film something like that, knowing that I'm pretty much on my own. I know there's another person there, but if I was standing on the street and shouting out, part of a filming project, and everyone's like, "What's going on there?"
Yeah, so, there's a little bending of the rules there, I think, because we've given people a little bit of leeway when it comes to what they produce, and we had boundaries like, within your house, within your ground. So if you've got an orchard and you've got a massive house, then fair play.
Yeah.
And then it's. Do you include things when you go on your hour walk? And it's kind of, we do it when we see the content and how they filmed, we kind of go, okay, that's fine. Thankfully, I've not had to kind of deny anyone yet. But because they were only across the street from their actual building.
Absolutely, yeah.
We'll accept that. That's okay. If it was in another place and another person, we've had stuff where they're combining content from other filmmakers have come together, producing stuff, and they actually work together in 2 different locations. Oh wow, yeah. FaceTime as characters like news reporters, that kind of thing. So that's worked really well. And I don't know, we must be doing something right if we're getting a submission from that part of the world,
Oh yeah, definitely. It's I mean, I remember when when you first started. To be fair, I didn't know who it was. Like, I just got like someone follows you on Instagram. It's like Isolation Films. Like, where did this come from? How did he even find me? I've not even put anything that's film related. Because sometimes you get like people who follow you because you've followed something else. Example, dogs. I follow quite a lot of dog posts, and then suddenly you start liking one, and then other dog pages will start following you as well. So I thought, I don't know, it's a bit of a weird algorithm, and it literally took a couple of days before I found out it was actually you. Like,
oh yeah, what I've learned is when Barack Obama was president, he used to sign off his tweets. Was it BO? Do you know when it was actually him tweeting? So I thought, I like that idea. So what I'm trying to do with a lot of those messages when I send like direct messages or to people I know that I'm sending it from the festival, I put Alex Blackburn. They might remember me or whatever. So I'm trying to limit how scary it can be to get this random message. Hey, do you want to submit this? So, because we're not limiting to people. We're not limiting people to say, "Oh, just use your iPhone." You know, let everyone have a. We're allowing people, if they've got the gear at home, use whatever they want. So we've had some filmmakers that have used like super high-end cameras. Like there's a horror film called Days. It's super high, like high. I keep talking about it because I really enjoy it. I love horror, you see. And he's a camera operator and filmmaker in Canada.
Oh wow!
So he's great. And we've had a 10-year-old that made an animation on her iPad. She lost loads of work of her hours. She cried her eyes out to her dad. And then she sent it in. And she did it again. So was it on your phone? What did you kind of shoot on?
Mostly it was a Canon 60D. So I've got quite a few lenses for that because I've never really used it for filming. I've only ever used it for photography. But I know, like, I just wanted
to. 60D is good, man. Yeah, I used to have one with the fold-out screen. Yeah.
So the one, because it had fold-out screen, it was a lot easier than using my GoPro. A couple of shots which are a bit tighter, so the ones above the sink and such, like editors with a GoPro, but most of the shots I wanted it for is more for the focal lengths, and so you can get the focus on right. So because I don't know, part of it as well, I mean, I didn't bother too much about what was in the background, but with intellectual property, you just never know who might be saying why you got that. So I was quite careful, like, so with some shots, like, not to have something that's overly Star Wars or Marvel or Disney related.
It's very, very, very easy in your house, I bet.
Well, I know exactly. Yeah, I mean, luckily, I just put these posters up now, the Transformers one, but
it looks great.
They went there then. And when I did the film, when I did that TV project, Flirty Dancing, everything that I had put up, they had to put away because they said they don't have the intellectual property. So my house literally just looked, well, my room just looked like white and grey.
Yeah.
And,
how did you come across the show? Is it something you auditioned for? How did the process work? What can you do?
A couple of friends had seen it. I posted about it because it was the first season as well. So a couple of friends had seen it. I post and say, "Oh, it's Dating by Dancing," and so they said, "Well, you're a good dancer. I don't know if you're still single or not." I mean, I was dating someone about a month beforehand, and just so happens it didn't work out, which is fine. But I thought, you know what, this sounds really tacky, and I'm not going to bother whatsoever. But then I was just bored one night, and I just looked into it more, and I read a press release saying that it's not a game show like a studio-based one. It comes across more like First Dates, and it's like situational, although it's inspired by the dance side of things. So I thought, you know what, this looks a bit more interesting. So yeah, I just applied, and within a day, I think one of the producers has contacted me and said, "Oh, we're interested in seeing what you'd bring and that." And it didn't have it.
No, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, it didn't have it in the application form. But I just thought, they're asking me to go on a dancing show, but there's nowhere to put a video. So I literally just put a link to an old video which I have on YouTube, me doing the Everyday I'm Shuffling dance. And then another dance as well. So I said, I don't know if this is relevant now, but here's some dances. And I think from that, probably put me in their interest quite early on. Say, all right, well, this guy obviously can dance. Asked me to come in for an audition to see if I could follow choreography, which I did. And and then straight on, Yeah, before, right? Yeah, we went for the show.
So where was it all shot in Manchester? Where was it shot?
Most of it, yeah. I mean, the actual final dance thing was in Castlefield.
Yeah, I recognise it, yeah.
Yeah, so the canal boats and that. But some of the rehearsals were filmed in London because they felt it was easier that we all go down there to film all the rehearsals there, but then we all separate out for our individual shots because it's meant to be something that's unique to one or two of the characters. I'm a character, should I say? Although it is actually me.
You definitely were, mate.
Yeah.
In a positive way, you came across your friends only suggested this to you because of your personality and they knew you were right for the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like it's a perfect storm, really. And I can't remember what the quote was they used in the advert. Something hilarious you said, and you were sitting on the couch. Fucking dog. Oh,
yeah, it's like I'm like a dog. Everyone loves a dog, but you won't want to date one.
Is that something you said? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that was like
that wasn't a plant or anything.
No, it was.
Hilarious.
This was when actually Banjo was at my house and we were just talking, and it was done so well because obviously I've worked behind scenes before, and where they cut out and like they restart again, and it's. I think at the time the producers didn't even realize themselves what they wanted, so they just let it flow, and just like they didn't prompt anything, so it was just questions from Ashley, and then I answered it, and then I think he just asked the question, so like, why are you single? And it just came out, and I didn't think anything of it. It's just one of those things that just come out with random gibberish, but then everyone just started laughing. Like there was a small crew, but like, even all the crew were laughing their heads off, and I was like, I've just said something stupid, haven't I? And then that is gold. It's like, you're going to use that, aren't you? It's like, yes.
Yeah, but, but you weren't being artificial, and
no.
So as you know, we all watch TV and Netflix or whatever, or game shows, whatever, and it's so much of the content is artificial, and the show had such a positive kind of spine to it, and that's what they had. That's what they had with you being on the show, is that it was just like a genuine, honest guy, and no BS. And I think you only came across positive in that. I don't see it being negative in any way. Plus, you can fucking dance. You know what I mean? I love all the stuff you do, man. Yeah, it's great.
I'm really fortunate, like that I applied for this project, not necessarily anything else. One, because it's like a feel good factor, and not just for me and my match, it was with the other couples as well. Any way to do it is to try to make it a positive thing. I was really worried that it might be a bit too tacky or cheesy and that, because they did film different angles as well. But for mine, obviously, they went with the Disney angle. I didn't really want to go there. I like Star Wars, but it wouldn't work for that story. It works quite well. I thought, right, that's great. The second part of it was like, because I'm Chinese, and typically for an Asian person to be on TV, they're made to look quite bad. Whether intentional or not, or subconsciously, like they're always made to look bad. Even the likes of First Dates or The Apprentice, every time there's a Chinese person on. Yeah, I mean, it's something I look at.
Were you conscious of that before going on the show, before even applying for it?
Yeah, because I was worried that they'd make me look like an idiot. So, but the way they were filming it, I mean, they always reassured me. But I've also known, like, some companies, not this one, fortunately, like, they'll do anything to pamper to the people who are going to be on the show. I've heard, like, on X Factor, oh yeah, you're brilliant. They go through 5 auditions, different people telling these candidates that they're excellent until they're put straight in front of the judges on the show and they say, you are the worst thing ever.
Yeah, a friend of a friend was a line producer or producer on the day of the Jeremy Kyle show. And I know firsthand from someone that worked on the show, and I was in the audience once. It was awful. It was awful. I know firsthand that they revved people up. They purposely manipulated people. And it was, when I heard that, I was like, that's disgusting, because they, like a car you would pull back and they just let it go. That's what it felt like when you watch Kyle, because they just steamroll outwardly. And so was it So from what you're saying, it was a step away from what you thought it would be, and it was kind of a really
the more I was talking to them, like I was very reserved, like the type of information that like literally when they first called me, they were asking me a lot of personal questions. Like it's not something I really want to tell someone that I've never spoken to before. And then they start filming some bits. It's like I don't know, but then they almost like I wouldn't say it's a pressure thing. It's like they open you up, like you kind of get used to just talking to different people about your feelings, and that's what they kind of want. It's not about making you look bad. It's that they need that raw emotion, that they need that raw feelings that you have inside that you wouldn't normally talk to a normal person about. But if it's put on TV, that's puts you who you are, and that's who I am, and you know who I am on TV. So,
well, the good thing with that show, mate, from my experience of watching it, because I watched it because you were in it, was that you came across positive, and it felt genuine the way they put that together. And there's so many shows, you can imagine how many shows manipulate the edit.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
I've got to say the biggest example possibly would be Big Brother, in terms of the way they shoot the hell out of it, and then they create the storylines in a story group meeting. They don't edit. They think, right, this is what we're going to do. This person's going to be the bad guy. And when you saw it, was it like a relief in terms of the way you were portrayed on TV?
Yeah, it was kind of weird. I was more like, because I was episode 3, and so I watched episode 1. I was more nervous watching episode 1 than I was in number 3, because number 1 sets the tone of how the format of it would be.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You know, whether it's going to be more comical, if it's cheesy or whatever. But the way it was done, I thought it was so amazing. I thought, right, I'm kind of looking forward to mine in some ways now, but still, could I be the token joke, like being on it, like because I'm the Chinese guy, and it's that anxiety I always have, like because you don't see it often on TV that like there's an Asian guy.
Yeah, because do you think this is just a guess? But when you watch TV and film do you think you're either you were going to either be portrayed as a villain or comedic relief, basically?
Yeah, typically, like rather than Asian specifically, I'll say for Chinese and that, it is normally in that sense. Like if they're the hero, someone like Jackie Chan or Jet Li, they're normally a martial artist who's the hero, but they're never the love interest. It's very rare they're the love interest. Most of Jackie Chan's films, like he's not the love interest of. He's not saving someone else, whereas Arnold Schwarzenegger, he would save someone, but then he is like love interest as well. James Bond always has some sort of love interest or whatever, but generally with Chinese characters, they're not. They're just the hero, but not the love interest. And so,
yeah, I see what you mean.
That's always the concern. Like, I mean, I tell a lot of my friends about it, and they've never really looked at it in that way. But it's like, but this is because of that. I always think like that's how it affects my social and almost like dating life as well, because subconsciously.
Yeah, the way people are portrayed in cinema, in press, in media, and everything definitely feeds into like look at sources of press that are super negative and are racist. Basically, there's going to be so many people believe all that shit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's no one, you know, you're in a kind of in that position, and it must have been like, right, it's a proper kind of leap of faith to trust TV producers to kind of
definitely
in a kind of an honest way.
Yeah,
it only takes a couple of minds within a production team to kind of skew things completely. And, so it must have been kind of a welcome kind of warm relief, you know, like the butterflies must have disappeared after your 3rd episode.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm part of I'm in this group on Facebook, which is like British-born Chinese. So people who are similar to me were born over here. And we've been brought up in the West rather than the East. And so, you know, we see things in a certain way that other people might not. And when that episode came up, like someone flagged it up and saying, oh, does anyone know who this is? Like, it's quite refreshing that you get a Chinese guy who's going on a date with a Caucasian girl, because it's so rare that you ever see that. And that is done in quite a positive way. Someone still said, "Oh, he's still made you out like you're negative," and I was like, "What?" It's like,
nah.
It's the group themselves that they always find a negative in everything. Really.
Oh, I see. Right.
Yeah.
But no, I think that must have been. Yeah, I can see why it was a good experience, because you kind of get to show you dancing as well. And like Ashley, is it Ashley Banjo was the host?
Yeah.
Like he seems like such a dude. Was he kind of like that off camera as well?
Definitely. You know, I've got high praises for him. Like he comes across like an absolute true gentleman. Like when he was when he first came to the house, they did tell me they were planning to have him at my house at some point, but he didn't tell me when. They said, "Oh yeah, we'll probably get him like tomorrow in the afternoon." And then literally first thing in the morning, he just turned up at my house. I was like, so that reaction at the door is genuine.
Amazing.
Because I was thinking it was the...
That's probably a very clever move by the production team. Like, right, we're going to...
Yeah, so the director, like...
shock wing now,
yeah. Because Banjo as well, he's like... he's really tall.
He's a tall dude, isn't he? Yeah.
Like 6'5" or 6'7" or something like that. Whereas the guy I've been speaking to, he's probably about 5'11". So I'm expecting him at the door and the eye level. So when it was actually Banjo, it's a lot higher. And my eye level just went like that and then up. It's like, oh my gosh.
It's like Princess Leia looking at Vader, that height difference.
Yeah. But like, so when we were filming here, it was fine. But obviously people around the street start seeing, oh, there's a camera crew here, what's going on? And then when we start filming a bit outside, people clocked on that, oh my gosh, is actually Banjo. And people would stop their cars. Someone actually parked in my drive, like just so he can come and take a picture with him. Then this is in the middle of filming. And whereas everyone's like, we're filming, sorry, you can't come here. Actually, Banjo was like very genuine. It's like, no, it's like, it's all right, you know, have a photo here, have a photo there. You'll talk to people, sign autographs or whatever. And it's like all sorts.
Because he's more famous than you think, isn't it? Because you keep forgetting about what he's done in the past as well.
Well, exactly, yeah. Like,
and because when you see genuine people like him, when he was on, was it Britain's Got Talent he was on?
Yeah.
With his group, that when you come across as super positive, I think that, and you're shown as positive on TV, people are receptive to you and they kind of really kind of like you more. I think, you know, there's too many kind of negative or like newsreaders, right? You build a relationship with them, or you kind of like them, like their personality or whatever. And like with someone like him, he's always been positive. There's never connected any BS, because if it was a pretense, he'd have to be exhausted from pretending all the time.
Yeah.
And he seems like a real dude and a proper professional. I think he did a very good job presenting as well, because that must have been relatively new to him, you know.
Yeah, I mean, he's done a few different things before, like it's kind of more specific to dance, so to do something more like for dating. But as the show says, like he met his wife through dancing as well. So you know, it's kind of like it's a lot closer to him than he probably thought he'd realised in the first place. But one of the things I asked him is, you know, how, you know, do you ever get used to it? You know, now you've got a lot more fame than you used to, because he just came from pretty much nothing down in London as a dance crew and that. And he goes like, well, you have to just appreciate, like, it was the public who put me there. So I'm grateful of that, which is why he's like so like receptive to people. And it's not like he can blend in either, because he's so tall.
Yeah, exactly.
People like have a double take every time they see him. I remember there's another shot.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, it was another shot we did in town. And again, I wasn't expecting him, and he just turned up. I was like, oh my gosh, he's here again. But because we were in the middle of filming, and then they will have to look after him. The crew had to look after him. It's like, all right, we're going to get a Nando's. I was like, well, let's stop filming. And Ashley said to me, it's like, do you want to go get some Nando's with us? I was like, I would absolutely love to, but I feel like I should concentrate on filming because I'm doing some like dance shots or whatever. So I don't want to be eating and then do some dance shots.
Yeah, that's a pro move to do that, because it could have been so easy to slip into that. Yeah, let's do that. But then you kind of, I'm going to ask you one last question about that show before we kind of just wrap it up.
Definitely, yeah.
Is that, was everything your choreography, or did you work with someone? I can't quite remember.
Yeah, so he kind of has the general idea of it first, and then he's got like there's a girl who's in the group diversity as well that he's in. She was like looking after me with another guy as well. Like he's not with diversity, but he works with diversity quite a lot, and so actually teaches me first, and then they help develop it as well, and then they kind of go based on everything I've spoken to about my personality and what my interests are. And I said, I quite like Michael Jackson and such and Marvel and all this stuff. So they got the idea of me being the hero of the story and using a song. It says, I know Michael Jackson, which is the irony of it. It's like, so I'm doing some Michael Jackson moves. And I thought it'd be funny. Well, not funny, but I'd like to add a few Michael Jackson-esque moves in it. So, you know, they do listen and take on board things like what I'd want to do. There's a bit where I was supposed to pick up Alice, and I said it doesn't feel right. This was before I met Alice. I was like, it doesn't feel right. I'm just picking her up and just putting it back down. And coincidentally, she said the same thing when she was rehearsing it. It feels weird. And so from that point, we kind of changed that bit round to do something else instead. We did a slightly different pose, which I thought is actually, well, it's much better doing it that way round instead.
Yeah, more genuine then, isn't it? Because you're not trying to force something.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, they want to make the dance. It's meant to be reflective of our characters as well. So
exactly.
To be fair, the song and all that is more my character, because Alison's one, she's more of a contemporary dancer, which does show it a little bit, but they focused on my reaction of her dancing and also Ashley Banjo's reaction of her dancing. So you don't see it as much as what I saw. And I was like, wow, it's incredible. So
it must have been really gratifying because of your kind of dance background or your love of dance to do something like that as well.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I never expected like to get that kind of platform to do something like that. Which then spurred me on to go back to dance classes and actually film myself doing dance things and, you know, kind of get more confidence in certain aspects, really. So, no, it's definitely worthwhile and it's been enjoyable. I'm not with Alice or like, you know, it's not worked out in that way, but everything else I got from the show has been fantastic.
Yeah, it must have been a really interesting reaction at work as well. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Wing. I could talk for a lot longer with you about cinema and all sorts.
Yeah.
But yeah, we really appreciate film. And next time, if what we're going to try and do is work out the best way to do this next year. Obviously, it won't be based on isolation, or it will be called
you never know.
Jesus Christ. But we're going to try and do it next year because it's been really positive, and speaking to people like yourself.
Oh, fantastic.
Other filmmakers has been great. And it's just a positive thing to kind of give people an uplift. We don't want to remind people why we started it. We kind of want to move it forward, you know. And yeah, what I'll do is I'll be in contact with you soon about when the festival closes, how we're going to put that content online. Because of those unique posters, we're going to use them as one sheets online and have a little bio and try and get a picture of each person and kind of build a profile of everyone so all the other filmmakers see everyone and see who they are. Because what we're going to do before we actually show any of the films online is send each filmmaker at least 2 or 3 films to watch and see if we can get a live reaction to it.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, and there's a few unique, like a talking dog called Gus, and honestly, it's like Lady and the Tramp. It's brilliant, and it's these two actress in Canada and a husband who they both worked on what's it called, Suits. They worked on that for 5 years.
Wow.
And their dog is looking after them in the house, and it's all from the point of view of the dog. It's brilliant. It's all shot this low level and all of that. So I keep talking about that film because I love it to bits, but when you see it, you'll see why.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, I really appreciate coming on board, Wing, and sharing some of your stories as well. And oh yeah, if we do one next year, what I meant to say was, got to do some of that dancing in it. I'll help you film it because I'm more than happy to do that. It's a genuine offer. If you ever want to shoot anything and you need someone, I'm only like 40 minutes down the road.
Brilliant.
So yeah,
that's fantastic.
I really appreciate it, dude, and I think we'll wrap it up there.
Yeah, all right. No, I appreciate being involved with it, to be honest with you. So
And it was just another unique, friendly, warm kind of film that people will definitely respond to when they see it, because we're going to market it, and when people that are watching us see your film that might not obviously have follow you on Facebook, I think they'll respond very well to it, mate.
Lovely. Fantastic. No, I appreciate that.
I want one very last quick question. What did you edit on?
What was it now?
Is it a PC or a Mac or a tablet?
It's a PC. It's DaVinci.
Oh, the Resolve, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
cool.
I used to use Sony Vegas Pro, but like every time I keep changing PC, and it's changing over the access codes and everything.
Yeah.
The learning curve. I did enjoy using Vegas Pro, but I thought I want to see what else is out there, and I did a lot of research, and this one's free. I can't believe this is free.
It's what I use as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
The camera I bought for this, I also use as a webcam, but it films separately in 4K. It came with a full license. The only real difference is a denoiser you don't really need, and you can do higher. You can go up to like 16K or 8K. So there's not much difference at all between the free and the paid version. So you're using the right tools there. Well, thank you very much, Wing. That's been superb, mate. It's been great to catch up with you as well. And sorry again for my rant online about Avatar.
It's fine. No, because I'd imagine, because obviously you've worked in a cinema.
It was just crushing.
You're passionate about film. I would probably be the same if I didn't go on a massive rant like that, but when I think, which episode was it of Star Wars? I think it was episode 8 when it came out. There was an issue with the IMAX then, and there was like a red line or red dot throughout the entire film. So they showed the first one. They showed episode 7 first, and I came out in between. And I told the staff, like, there's a red dot throughout the entire film, like, or a red line. I can't remember what it was. And they said that better be sorted out before the next film. I don't mind it being an old film because I've already seen it, but it's a brand new film, and they couldn't sort it. And in the end, they sorted us out.
Was it on the projector?
No, it was something to do with the
data, the file, the downloaded thing from the satellite for the film. Yeah.
So, but they rectified it by the next day or stuff, but they couldn't do it for that night. I was like, they'd have to restart their IMAX. So then restart it. It's going to be out 15 minutes. I don't care.
Yeah.
To wait this long to watch this film at midnight, then I'd rather do that. But
and the other last point I'm going to say about IMAX is the reason the Manchester's better as well, because the way they do because when you look behind a cinema screen, it's like scaffolding, isn't it? And the spit in the center.
Oh, yeah.
I've got a piece of one of those screens when it got replaced from Manchester, by the way. It's about this big. It's got the little dots on. I think it was like screen 12 or something like that. Is that the framework in the BFI in London, you can see the center third scaffold on light areas. So you can see the framework of the screen. So I'm like, what the fuck?
No way.
Yeah, it's not great. So if you want IMAX, go to Manchester Filmworks. I think is it still called Filmworks now?
No, they got rid of that when it came Odeon, and then it's become View now. So second largest IMAX in Europe.
It's the best IMAX in the country as well.
Yeah.
And I've still got all my IMAX badges and my Filmworks and all of that. I think I've still got Jaws on it. Yeah. And I insisted to have all the letters in capitals like the poster.
Brilliant.
It's such a nerdy thing. Well, thank you very much, mate. You're a top man, and I really appreciate it.
No, I enjoyed it. Cheers. Thanks very much.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your evening, mate.
All right, yeah. Take care.
See you later, mate. Bye-bye.
See you.